Like every morning, Daphne went to her favorite local cafe to get her coffee and breakfast sandwich. She left the cafe after she'd paid. A few minutes later, she returned, looking anxious, because she had forgotten her wallet. Strangely, it was nowhere to be found. She called the police to report the incident. Nobody had left the store, so the thief was still there when the officer arrived. He started questioning everyone. Jenny, the cashier, said that Daphne was a regular customer and she had known her for a long time. So, she would never steal her wallet, and she didn't see it after Daphne had paid. Andre was a tourist visiting the city for the first time. He said he'd come to the cafe because he'd wanted to try their famous muffins. She claimed he hadn't seen the wallet. He was busy trying to pick what type of muffin he should get at the time. And Harry worked as a store clerk. He said that he'd come there to grab a coffee, and he didn't see the wallet because he was pouring milk into his coffee. So who do you think stole the wallet? It was Harry, the store clerk, or should I say Harold. Do you see his name tag? He lied about his name when he ordered his drink. Also, even though he said he was pouring milk in his coffee, as you can see, it doesn't have any milk in it. Jessica was an aspiring actor, and she had a big musical theater audition that day. She left her house early in the morning to make it on time, but she had forgotten to take her sheet music with her, so she had to drive back. When she walked in, though, she saw her roommate lying on the floor unconscious. A nurse was standing beside her. She explained to Jessica that her roommate had been poisoned, but luckily, she'd had enough time to call an ambulance before she passed out. Jessica immediately realized something was wrong. She thanked the nurse for helping her friend and asked her if she could get her a glass of water or anything else. The nurse agreed, and Jessica hurried to the kitchen. There, she called the police saying, "There's a fake nurse in my house. She poisoned my roommate and tried to rob her." How did Jessica understand that? When she arrived at the house, there was no ambulance car in the driveway or in the street, and it's not like paramedics started using Uber. And you might have also noticed that the paramedic bag the nurse was holding was slightly open, and Jessica's roommate's jewelry was dangling out of it. Anna and Catherine are both influencers, but take a look at the latest photos they posted. Which of these ladies do you think is richer? Catherine is richer, of course. Just look at the number of likes on her photo. She has 27,907 likes. Anna, on the other hand, has 9,837, which means that Catherine has way more followers and must be earning millions. Annie managed to buy presents for everyone except her dad. She knew what everyone wanted, but her dad was kind of secretive and not the talking type. He was also not great with technology and never bought anything online, so there was no way she could sneak into her dad's computer and check the saved items in his shopping cart. But he always liked to make lists in his little notebook, and Annie was sure she might be able to find a wish list there. So she sneaked into her father's office one day to look for the notebook. It was nowhere to be found, but his study table had a locked drawer. She looked for the key around the room but couldn't find it anywhere. That's when two different sticky notes attached to two different books inside the bookcase caught her eye. The first note was attached to a psychology book and had P5487TH written on it. The second note was attached to a detective novel and said P21320TH. Annie immediately knew what the notes meant. Can you guess what she had to do? She had to open to page 548 in the first book and find the seventh word on this page. Then, she had to open page 213 in the second book and find the 20th word on that page. The words she found were under and desk. The girl immediately looked under the desk and found the drawer key taped to it. James was walking back to his apartment from work late at night. Suddenly, he was hit on the head and taken away. When he woke up, he found himself in a small room. He tried to escape, but the door was locked with a padlock. James tried to look for the key, but there was nothing in there but a window with strange-looking metal bars. Suddenly, he noticed something. It helped him to find the key. Do you see it too? One of the metal bars is different from the others. That one is the key. Giselle was camping in the forest during a night when the moon was full. After midnight, when she was making s'mores by a fire, she heard a loud howl. There was a werewolf in the forest, and it managed to find Giselle's tent because it smelled of food there. Thankfully, Giselle was not in her tent anymore when the werewolf arrived because she had already run away. Hiding behind a tree, she watched the creature eat her s'mores and tear up the tent. When the werewolf left before sunrise, the girl returned to her tent, but everything was ruined. There was no more food or water left. Her cell phone had run out of battery, so she couldn't call anyone. She started wandering through the forest, and soon she came upon a witch's house. When she walked in, she saw the witch and another lady. Giselle asked the witch if she could send her home. The witch agreed to help her on one condition. She would only send Giselle home if she guessed her sister's name. If not, she would turn her into a frog. Giselle knew the answer, but how? Did you notice that the witch's sister is wearing the same necklace around her neck as the werewolf? Well, Giselle did, and there's a name written on the necklace: Abigail. Zoe went to a security guard and reported that her gym bag was missing. She said she'd gone to the ladies' restroom after her dance cardio class. She was fixing her hair when someone came up from behind and pushed her. So she didn't see the person who had taken her bag. The security guard refused to check the footage from the security camera that was outside the restroom. Neither did he file a report. Why? Zoe said she was fixing her hair, so she must have been looking in the mirror. If she was telling the truth about someone sneaking up from behind, she would have definitely seen their reflection. So, Zoe probably lied so that she could sue them. Luckily, the security guard was super smart. Several women went missing in a small town. James Darcy and his police team had been searching for months, but they couldn't find the place where the women were kept. One day, when Sandra was jogging, she decided to use another route to get home. As she was passing an old cabin, she heard screams coming from its basement. She immediately called James Darcy to report it. James and his team arrived at the place and busted in. They found there 3 women. They all said that they had been locked in the basement for months, but James knew one of them was lying. The first woman said that her name was Tammy and that she had spent almost 8 months in the basement. The second woman claimed that her name was Hannah and that she had been there for almost 5 months. The third woman told him that her name was Allison and that she had stayed there for about 3 months. Can you tell who the liar is? Allison is telling the truth. Look at her. Her clothes are dirty. Her hair is greasy. Her roots have started to grow out. She definitely hasn't seen daylight for a long time. The same goes for Hannah. But look at Tammy. She looks clean. Her clothes look new. Her hair and makeup look fresh, so it must be her who is lying. David spent his summer break at a science camp that was at a big space facility. When the summer break ended and school started, he told his friends from the science club all about his camp adventures. He said that at the facility, he had found a secret room. And in there was a time machine. He stepped into it and pressed some buttons to test if it really worked. And it did. He traveled through time and was able to talk to Nikola Tesla, Chuck Berry, and King Aragorn. But one of his friends immediately called him out for lying. How did he know that David made up this whole thing? Well, even if David actually managed to travel through time, he might have been able to talk to Nikola Tesla and Chuck Berry, but definitely not King Aragorn, because he is a fictional character.
Kevin and Jill moved in together several months ago. Can you guess how many months ago did they start living together by looking at this picture? There's a cleaning schedule hanging on the fridge. It has colored stickers with their names. They've been keeping this schedule for 5 months already. Therefore, they moved in together 5 months ago. New Year was coming, and Kevin invited Jill to spend the holidays in his parents' house. When they arrived, Kevin introduced Jill to his father and 2 brothers. Suddenly, Kevin's mother entered the house with her 2 best friends. They just came back home from the mall. Can you help Jill decide which of these 3 women is Kevin's mother? The third woman. The mole on her face is identical to Kevin's. Also, she's the only natural blonde among these women. Although the other 2 ladies also have blonde hair, their roots are dark. Kevin gave Jill a tour around the house. He offered her to play a game and guess on the second floor. She was supposed to guess which of the 3 bedrooms was Kevin's room where he lived with his parents. Have you guessed? The second room. Kevin's name was written on the wall. Although the graffiti was covered with paint, it could still be seen through. Besides, the interior of Kevin's current apartment also has some graffiti elements because he still pursues his hobby. Before the dinner, Kevin's brothers decided to prank Kevin and Jill and serve some snacks. There are 3 bowls with snacks, but only one of them contains edible snacks. Can you help Kevin and Jill choose the right bowl? The first bowl has spiders in it. The second bowl doesn't only contain chips, but also Lego parts. And there's a couple of dirty socks inside the third bowl. Therefore, the safest option is bowl number 2. They just need to be careful not to eat Lego parts. During the dinner, Kevin's mother has been asking Jill embarrassing questions. Jill told her 4 facts about herself. She graduated from college with honors. She doesn't have any tattoos. Jill and Kevin met each other online. Her favorite color is blue. But only 3 facts are true. Which one is false? Jill does have a tattoo. Take a look at her ankle. Next morning, the entire family gathered in the living room to have breakfast and unpack Christmas gifts. Can you guess what gift is from Kevin's mother to Jill? This blue box. It's the only gift wrapped in a different color than others. Kevin's mother probably learned that Jill would come over after having wrapped all the gifts for her family. Besides, Jill mentioned that she loved blue color. Kevin and Jill went hiking nearby Kevin's hometown. It started to snow, and they decided to spend a romantic night in the woods. They rented a lovely cabin. Next morning, Jill got out of the bed and saw that their backpacks had disappeared. Hey! Take a look at this picture. Can you guess who stole their stuff? Kevin's brothers decided to prank them. There are traces of 2 people on the snow, and one of the brothers dropped one of his purple gloves. Kevin's brothers jumped out of a barn where they hid. They decided to go for a walk and found a secret base in the mountains. It was well guarded, but Kevin's brother Mike found an open door. The door slammed shut just as Mike got inside. He saw 3 pots in front of him. There was a fire in the first one. The second one was full of acid, and there was a working electric saw in the third pot. Suddenly, a mysterious voice said, "You can get a key from one of the pots to break free, but you can't move the pots." How did Mike escape? He pulled icicles from the ceiling and threw them into the first pot. The icicles melted and put the fire out. The guys continued their journey. Soon after, they decided to stop and have a quick snack. Kevin's second brother, Andy, spotted a cave. As soon as he entered the cave, the way out disappeared. Now he must choose between 3 doors. There are poisonous scorpions behind the first door. There's a sleeping potion behind the second door, and he would have to drink. Finally, there's a hungry tiger behind the third door. What should Andy do to escape? He should grab the sleeping potion, pour it over his sandwich, and throw the food at the hungry tiger. When the tiger falls asleep, he'll be able to escape through the third door. Jill, Kevin, Andy, and Mike headed home when they noticed cougars moving toward them. The guys started running away and saw a tunnel. It was very dark and scary. They only have 12 minutes to cross it. It takes Mike 1 minute to cross the tunnel, Andy 2 minutes, Jill 4 minutes, and Kevin 5 minutes. The guys decided to split into 2 pairs, but they only have 1 flashlight, and there's no way they go in there in 4. How can they escape? Andy and Mike should walk through the tunnel with the flashlight in 2 minutes. Then Mike returns. They still have 9 minutes. Kevin and Jill run through the tunnel with the flashlight and give it to Andy. It will take another 5 minutes. Then Andy should run to Mike, and they will escape together with the remaining 2 minutes. Kevin and Jill returned home, but the adventure continued. Someone robbed their apartment yesterday. They called the police and questioned the neighbors. Dan said that he had spent all holidays at work and didn't come home at all. Vicky was wearing headphones because she was making music, so she couldn't hear any suspicious sounds. And Emily spent the holidays at her sister's place because construction workers had to finish renovations in her apartment. Who is lying? Emily. If they finished renovations, why is her apartment a giant mess? 2 years later, Kevin and Jill decided to get married. On the wedding day, Kevin noticed that Jill had forgotten her wedding necklace in his bag. He went to her dressing room to get the jewelry, but when he got there, he saw 3 identical Jills wearing identical dresses. Jill's father is a scientist. He decided to test Kevin's feelings before the wedding and made 2 clones of his daughter. Help Kevin find his real bride. It's the third one. She has a tattoo on her ankle, remember? And her clones don't, because tattoos don't impact genetics. Jill went downstairs to say hi to her bridesmaids, but when she saw them, Jill began to yell at her dad because he pranked her with his mad scientific tricks once again. One of the bridesmaids was a cyborg. Can you guess who it was? This elegant lady over here. What is she doing with her head? Kevin's mother was responsible for the wedding banquet. But when she entered the kitchen and saw the food served by the catering company, she got very upset. She called the company's office and started to yell at the manager, telling them to fix the disaster immediately. Can you guess what made her so upset? Look at the top of the cake. There are 2 green goblins instead of the bride and the groom. Kevin and Jill went to the Caribbean for their honeymoon. The hotel looked rather creepy, but they decided to stay there anyway. The hotel employee asked the newlyweds to choose a room from the remaining options. Can you help Kevin and Jill pick a good room? There were weird stains on linen in the first room. There's a spider web on the chandelier in the second room. And the third one looks pretty good. Jill decided to chill in the swimming pool. On her way to the dressing room, she noticed a TV in the hall and heard some breaking news. Someone spotted a zombie in town. The creature probably went downtown, and it could be anywhere. Zombies are not very good at swimming and move very slowly. Jill entered the dressing room and met 3 people. Can you tell who the zombie is? There's a bandage on this woman's leg. No one would go to a swimming pool if they had cuts or stretches unless they're a zombie. In the hotel room, Kevin found a secret door leading to a tunnel. He walked through the tunnel and found storage full of diamonds. Suddenly, prison bars appeared around Kevin out of nowhere, and a mysterious voice said, "You can take all the diamonds and leave safely if you manage to choose the right potion to escape." There were 3 options. The first potion will make Kevin invisible. The second potion will turn him into a bird. And the third potion will make him super tall. In 5 minutes, Kevin returned to Jill with a huge bag of diamonds. Which potion did he choose? The second one. He turned into a small bird that flew through the bars. The next morning, Jill woke up stuck on a small, flat, deserted island. It raised up 40 feet, and all around the base are jagged rocks and shark-infested waters. The island was covered in a dry, flammable vegetation. Suddenly, lightning struck the easternmost point of the island, and a huge fire started. The wind made the fire burn in a perfectly straight line across the island, with no gaps in the fire line. The fire was burning quite intensely, and she couldn't vault it or put it out. Jill cannot jump or traverse the rocks, and the wind won't change direction. How can she survive? Jill can start a fire herself, which will burn behind her. By the time the main fire gets there, she will be surrounded by an already burned area, and the main fire will not harm her. Also, since there was lightning, it probably rained soon after. The rain could put out the fire, and Jill would survive. Wow, what a crazy honeymoon. I think I'd just stay home.
Sam was walking in the mountains. He met a beautiful girl and spent the whole day with her. In the evening, he realized he didn't even know her name. He asked if he could take her out the next day. The girl agreed, but only if he guessed her name. Sam was upset, but luckily, the girl liked him too. She wrote something on a piece of paper. It was a hint. Can you figure out her name? Ignore the numbers and look at the letters. Together, they make up the name Regina. Sam rented a cabin on a beautiful deserted beach. He called Regina and invited her over. But she complained that she'd broken her leg. Sam offered his help and invited Regina to stay in his house until she recovered. He brought her to the cabin in his arms like a real gentleman. Regina was hungry and asked Sam to go buy some food. When Sam returned, he saw that someone had robbed his house. Regina said that she'd been sleeping and hadn't seen the robbers. Sam called the police and said, "I guess my new girlfriend is a thief." Why did he think so? Take a look at the cast. At first, it was on the right leg, but now it's on the left one. The police arrested Regina. They also detained 3 suspicious men. Jake said that he'd been walking with his dog nearby. Bill said that he'd been taking pictures for his blog. And Fred said he always surfed on that beach. Can you guess which of them is Regina's accomplice in the robbery? It's Bill. Take a look at his arm. He has a tattoo with Regina's name. The next evening, prison guards intercepted a letter from Regina to Bill, but it was encrypted, and the ink was going to become invisible in 10 seconds. Can you crack the code to uncover the plan? It says, "Escape tonight." Emily was walking in the forest and got lost. A few hours later, she found a creepy cabin and knocked on the door. A witch opened the door and invited the girl to come in. She was having a birthday party. The witch locked the door and told Emily, "I will let you go if you help me to divide these 3 chocolate bars among my 5 friends equally." How can Emily fulfill this task and escape? She should break each of the bars into 5 pieces. This way, everyone will get 3 pieces in total. Emily is jumping with a parachute. She has to land right now. There are 4 landing spots, a rainforest full of crocodiles and other animals, a deep well she shouldn't be able to climb out of, an erupting volcano, and a hot desert with no water. What should the girl choose? The last option. Look at the picture attentively. There's a city nearby. Emily met Sam online. They liked each other and agreed to meet in real life. Sam said he would be wearing a blue hat. When Emily arrived at the coffee shop, she noticed 3 guys wearing blue hats. They were standing facing away from her, so she couldn't see their faces. Can you help Emily figure out which one is Sam? Take a look at the mirror on the wall. The first guy has a wedding ring. The second one is wearing the coffee shop uniform. He must be a waiter, not a customer. And the third guy is Sam. He's holding a rose, ready for the date. Henry had had a crush on Emily since he was a first-year student. Finally, he plucked up his courage and asked the girl out, but she said no because she had a boyfriend, Sam. Henry was very upset. One day, Emily was walking home. Suddenly, 3 guys came up to her. They wanted to take her money, but the girl didn't have any. She didn't know what to do. She tried to call 911, but the guys snatched the phone from her hand. Luckily, Henry happened to pass by that place. He saw what was happening, ran up to the guys, and yelled, "Stay away from her! I've called the police!" One of the criminals shouted, "Let's go! Henry called the police!" And the guys ran away. Emily said, "Leave me alone, Henry. That was stupid. Why did she say so?" The girl realized it had been a setup. Otherwise, how would the guys know Henry's name? Sam wanted to give Emily a perfect gift for New Year's, but he absolutely had no idea what to get her. He decided to check out what she saved in her shopping cart on her laptop. When Emily went to take a shower, Sam sneaked into her room and turned on the computer. It required a password, but Sam didn't know it. Luckily, there was a note lying next to the laptop saying 7337. Sam tried it, but it didn't work. What's the password? Sam should try 33333333777. Voila! Sam discovered that Emily was dreaming of having an electric piano. He went to a musical instrument store and bought the best piano he could get. On his way home, Sam realized that he'd forgotten his wallet at the cashier's desk. He returned, but the wallet wasn't there. The police arrived quickly and questioned 3 witnesses. The cashier said that she hadn't seen the wallet. Mike said that he'd come up to the cashier to ask about violins, but he didn't see any wallets. And Diana said that she'd been talking on the phone with her husband. Who stole the wallet? It was Mike. No one specified where Sam had left his wallet. Mike knew it because he had taken it. Mark, Sam's uncle, put a $100 bill inside his desk drawer and left for work. When he came back, the money was gone. He questioned 3 people. His wife said, "I put the bill under the book on the desk." The gardener said, "I put it inside the book between pages 1 and 2. The cleaner said, "I saw the bill sticking out of the book. I was afraid it'd get lost and moved it between page 2 and page 3. Mark asked Sam to help him figure out who the thief was. After a while, the guy cracked the case. Do you know who stole the money? It was the gardener. Pages 1 and 2 are the opposite sides of the same sheet. Emily got a new job as a hairdresser. In the middle of her shift, her manager saw some hair strands on the floor and asked, "That's weird. Whose hair is this?" Look at the three ladies. Can you guess who this blonde hair belongs to? This dark-haired lady has natural gray hair, which means that the hair can't be hers. Look at this lady's backpack. She's a delivery worker, not a client. It means the hair on the floor belongs to this woman with blue hair. Emily gave her a haircut and dyed her hair blue. According to Emily's work contract, she has to do 4 haircuts, 2 hair dyes, and 3 stylings during one day. Each haircut costs $45. Hair dye is $70, and styling costs $20. Can you calculate how much she's earned today? The girl has earned nothing. Look at the sign on the door. They're closed on Sunday. How can we make sure that today is Sunday? Look at the TV on the wall. It shows the time and the day of the week. Sam invited Emily to a fancy party. They arrived at a restaurant that was full of celebrities. There, they met Emily's favorite actress, Diana. After a while, Diana fainted in the middle of the dance floor. Someone had poisoned her. Emily wanted to help and decided to find the criminal. She questioned 3 suspects. Diana's friend Bill said, "I've known Diana for ages. I would never hurt her." Diana's best friend said, "I was fixing my makeup in the ladies' room when she got sick." And Diana's husband said that she had left him to get some drinks. He stayed at the table and didn't see anything. Emily knew for sure that one of these people was lying. Can you guess who it was? The best friend. There's a bottle of poison in her makeup bag. After dinner, Sam gave Emily a card with these weird images. Emily began to cry and said yes. Why? It's a rebus. It says, "Will you marry me?" Emily and Sam invited several friends to celebrate their engagement. Emily decided to prank the guests. She put a stick in a packet of hot sauce, and then she placed the whole thing inside of a cup. She served the drinks and turned her camera on to film the unlucky guest's funny reaction. Can you spot which cup is the dangerous one? This one. The straw in it is darker. Sam decided to pay back and prepared another prank. He cut off the bottom of 2 paper cups. Then he joined the 2 cups like this. After that, he served the drinks to the guests. But Emily immediately understood which cup was different. Have you guessed too? This one. It's a little taller than a regular cup. One of Emily and Sam's friends, Josh, made a good investment and earned $1 billion. He wanted to give the guys a generous wedding gift. But first, he decided to ask them to solve a tricky riddle. If they managed to crack it, they'd get their dream house. Look at these 4 groups of pencils. The task is to rearrange them in groups of 1, 2, 3, and 4 with one single move. Can you help Emily and Sam? They should take the second pencil from these 4 and put it in here. Now they have groups of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Easy! Hey, what if I show you some logos, and you'll have to guess which one is the correct one? Let's start with Tesla. Which one do you choose? Yes, it's the one on the right. BMW. What's your choice? Again, the one on the right. Our next one is Subaru. What do you think? It's the one on the left. Do you like online shopping? What's the correct eBay logo? It's red, blue, yellow, and green. So, the one on the right. And now, Coca-Cola. What do you say? The left one, of course. Subway. White and yellow, or yellow and white? White and yellow. The one on the left. Are you a Redditor? Not that it matters, I just need your vote. And the left one is the correct logo. Abigail wanted to give her mom the best birthday present ever, but she had zero ideas. So she decided to sneak into her mom's computer and check what she had saved in her online shopping cart. When her mom left for work, Abigail sneaked into her office and turned on the computer. It required a password, but the girl didn't know it. Luckily, there was a note right next to the computer saying 9669. Abby tried it, but it didn't work. What's the password? The note is just turned upside down. The girl should try 6996. Mrs. Grossman left a jewelry store and found out that she'd forgotten her wallet at the cashier's desk. She returned, but the wallet wasn't there. She called the police. When they arrived, they asked if someone had seen the wallet. Lexi, the cashier, said that she hadn't seen it. Stephen, a customer, said that he had come up to the cashier to ask something, but he hadn't noticed any wallet. Cole, another customer, said that he'd been busy talking on the phone with his wife. It was Stephen. He said there had been no wallet near the cashier's desk, but no one specified where the lady had lost the wallet. The guy knew it because he'd taken it. Esme was having a walk deep in the forest and got lost. After hours of wandering around, she saw the witch's house. The witch was having a party. She turned 300 years old. Esme stuck around for a while to hang out with the witch and her friends. But then the girl asked the witch to show her the way out. She answered that Esme had to help them. They had 3 chocolate bars and there were 5 people. Esme had to share these bars in such a way that everyone got the same amount of chocolate. If she succeeded, she'd go home. If not, she'd have to stay until the witch's 400th birthday. How can Esme share the chocolate? She should break each of the bars into 5 pieces. This way, everyone will get 3 pieces in total. On the last day of school, one of the students, Oakley, went missing. A detective arrived to investigate the case. There were 3 suspects: Mrs. Adams, the principal, Mr. Jones, the cleaning man, and Nora, Oakley's classmate. Mrs. Adams said she had a lot of paperwork to finish. She had spent the whole day in her office. Mr. Jones admitted he knew Oakley, but he said that he had nothing to do with this incident. Nora said she stayed at school after classes to do her homework for the next day, but she didn't see Oakley after the classes had finished. Who should the detective arrest? Nora. She said she'd been doing her homework, but it was the last day of school. No more homework. She's hiding something. Now, I'll show you some pictures and you'll have to figure out what's wrong with them. Let's go. Here's the first one. Look, the book's spine is on the wrong side. Okay, the next one. The road sign says that one can only turn right from the right lane, but there's no road there. Okay, I'm giving you a break. This should be easy for you. What's wrong here? Right, the athletes are playing soccer with a baseball. You gotta be very attentive. Here's a picture, but something is wrong in it. What is it? Look, the pool is frozen. No fun. In a small and quiet town, someone started to rob the bank every once in a while. The person was so fast that the police couldn't catch them. After another robbery, the police saw the criminal entering a grocery store. There were 3 customers inside, and they became the main suspects. Can you tell who the robber is? It's the girl in the middle. The first woman is wearing high heels, which means she wouldn't be able to run so fast. The third girl has a cast on her leg, so she's not a robber either. Detective Callum had to travel to a small town where young women disappeared every day. 4 of them were already missing: Anna, Elle, Hannah, and Ada. After doing some research, the detective decided that the next target would be one of these 4 girls: Riley, Ellie, Ashley, and Eve. Can you figure out who it will be? It seems like all the missing girls have palindromic names. Those sound the same no matter whether you read them from left to right or from right to left. The only girl with a palindromic name is Eve, so she must be the next target. While Mr. Coleman, a rich gentleman, was on vacation, his office was robbed. The police started an investigation. They found fingerprints of 3 people and interrogated them. Noelle, Mr. Coleman's secretary, said that she'd been coming to the office to water the plants. Rob, the man's business partner, said that he'd come once to get some important documents. Brandon, the cleaning man, said that he'd been washing the floor every 2 days. Who robbed the office? It was Noelle. She said she'd been watering the plants, but look, there's not a single plant in Mr. Coleman's office. John was on an expedition to the South Pole. One day, he woke up in a frozen cave. He didn't remember what happened, but he knew he had to get out. He saw 3 doors and a poster. It said that behind the first door, there was a room filled with toxic gas. Behind the second one, there was a huge lake. And behind the third door, there was a room where sharp icicles fell from the ceiling every second. John couldn't swim. Which door should he choose to stay safe? He should pick the second door. He's at the South Pole. It's cold there, so the lake must be frozen, and the guy won't have to swim. Aurora decided to spend her summer vacation in the countryside. She loved taking long trips to the nearby forest on her own. Once, she came across an old mansion. It dated back to the 18th century, and no one had lived there since then. It was dusty inside. There was no light or electricity, but the place was beautiful. Suddenly, the door got locked behind Aurora's back. She saw 3 ways out. Behind the first door, there were many hungry rats. Behind the second door, there was a 500-foot deep hole. Behind the third door, there was an electro laser that would immediately burn her. Which door is safe? The third one. There's no electricity, so the laser won't work. Dylan was abroad, enjoying the sun and his long-awaited vacation. One day, he met a beautiful girl at the beach. The guy spent the whole day with her. In the evening, he realized he didn't know her name. He asked if he could take her out the next day. The girl agreed, but only if he guessed her name. Dylan was devastated, but luckily, the girl liked him too. She wrote something on a piece of paper to give him a hint. Here's what it said. Can you figure out the girl's name? Ignore the numbers and look at the letters. Together, they make up the name Laura. It must be the girl's name. Jelena wanted to go to the party her classmate was throwing, but her mom didn't let her go. Mrs. Miller felt bad for not allowing her daughter to have some fun. Then, she remembered that her parents had recently moved to a little farm and got some goats. She suggested that Jelena should visit her grandparents on the farm instead. The girl agreed, but instead of going to the farm, she went to the party. When Jelena returned home on Sunday evening, her mom asked her if she had liked the farm. The girl said yes. She didn't know how chickens were so cute. After this, Jelena got grounded. Why? There were only goats on the grandparents' farm. Her mom figured out the girl hadn't gone there. Otherwise, she'd know it. It was snowing in the morning. Detective Callum didn't have much work during the day, but in the evening, the owner of the jewelry store reported that his business had been robbed. Detective Callum asked people who lived next door what they had been doing at that time. In 3 houses, people said they hadn't left home that day, but the detective figured out that one of them was lying. Who was it, and how did the detective understand it? It was someone from the second house. It was snowing in the morning. If no one had left home, there wouldn't be any snow under the cars. But there's snow underneath this car. A rich woman was traveling on a little but fancy cruise ship. She was robbed one night during a storm. Someone said that one of the passengers, Logan, had been very suspicious the whole time. He'd always been watching the woman. The detective interrogated Logan, but the man denied stealing anything. He said that during the storm, he'd been in his cabin writing a letter to his wife. He then showed the letter to the detective. Here it is, take a look at it. Why did the detective arrest Logan? Logan said he'd been writing the letter during the storm, but the ship was rocking on the waves. The handwriting is too neat for Logan to be saying the truth.